You can do amazing things if you do it a little bit at a time.
Anybody who has ever worked with me in the archives on projects related to the history of Ohio University knows the reverence that I have for a very special guest speaker. They also know how often I've spoken about my desire to get her to come back to this university and tell us how, working virtually as a one-woman gang, she managed to get so much accomplished in changing not only the rules, but also, and more importantly, to beginning to change the prevailing culture in which Ms. Jones was suddenly called upon by University President Claude Soul to examine the situation for women at Ohio University, and in which she, as a 26-year-old graduate student, presented her incredible document titled The Status of Women at Ohio University, completed on April 5th, 1972, included an incredible amount of legal research, combined with over a dozen bold recommendations made by Bev herself as to how the university should fix the state of affairs relating to women's inequality at the university. I found out for the first time just today, by the way, that Bev was never asked to submit those recommendations. But she did so anyway. And after you've heard her talk a little bit about herself and her work, you'll understand that Bev probably couldn't have allowed the chance to go by without making some strong, effective recommendations.
You can do amazing things if you do it a little bit at a time. If you take a lot of baby steps, you can get to a very different kind of social structure or quality product or whatever you're trying to do. Now, I had kind of stumbled upon it in a much humbler way back when I was about 14 and I started to be weight conscious. I used to drink a lot of tea. I had British roots and we sat around and had tea and I put in about 3 teaspoons of sugar and I knew I wanted to get off that, but I didn't really like the tea without the sugar. So one day I got the idea that if I were to take 1 grain off that spoon, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference. And then if the next day I were to take another grain, and the next day I would take another grain, eventually I would be able to drink tea without sugar, without having suffered at all. So that's what I did. And so the year I turned 15, I learned about Kaizen. Every day I took a tiny little bit less, and at the end of a year I had weaned myself from sugar. And I didn't know there was a name for this principle, but what I learned is you can do a lot of things if you just are willing to do a little bit more every day, and it doesn't have to be much.